This is an incorrect recap of chapters 1 through 20 of the series SSS Class Revival Hunter. Chapter 1. In this world, there is a tower filled with monsters, angels, demons, gods, and yet humans still try to climb this tower. Well, those that are capable at least try to do that. And then there are those like the man on your screen right now, a man who knows that jumping from bridges is free. Our main character, Kim Gong-ja. Someone who spent a little too much time arguing with random people on Twitter that now he is just a husk of a person who is what the streets would identify as a loser, who really wants to be the #1 hunter in the world, the Flame Emperor, as he watches every news broadcast and article he's on, just trying to be even 1% like the Flame Emperor. And speaking of which, the Flame Emperor is asked a question by the media that lights up Kim's eyes like a boy seeing his first pair of honkers. And the question, what words of advice would he give to aspiring hunters? The advice the Flame Emperor would give to aspiring hunters is, the words are gripping to Kim like a pair of 2013 skinny jeans. Which, side note, thank God that stupid ass style fucking died. The words the Flame Emperor would give to those young and up and coming hunters is to move, bitch. Get out the way, bitch, get out the way, move, bitch. Ah, my bad. The Flame Emperor then drops the mic and walks off the interview. What in the fuck was that? Upon hearing such inspirational words, Kim decides to close his laptop like his favorite Ekin just sent him a link to a rope and instructions on how to tie a knot. Kim is devastated. Can he truly never be like the Flame Emperor? What is he here for? Just to suffer? And in the sadness and fury, Kim rips the articles off his wall featuring the Flame Emperor, swearing that if he had the power of the Flame Emperor, he would be the greatest hunter this world would ever see. Upon hearing this bold declaration, the tower, seeing his desperation, grants Kim what he's been begging and bitching for all this time: a skill. And not just any skill, but an EXSSS grade super duper skill named Imposter Syndrome, allowing him to copy anyone's skill. Oh my God. With this skill, this changes everything about Kim's life. Oh, not so fast. What does that fine print at the bottom say for Kim? That in order to use this skill, he needs to be killed by them. What? Chapter 2. How could this happen to Kim? He's made his mistakes. So now, even with the tower officially telling Kim to perform the parachuteless skydiving challenge, he's not exactly taking the news well, as he is now sloshed out of his mind, causing a ruckus at the bar and kicked out of said bar. He then proceeds to drunkenly stumble into a domestic. Oh wow, would you look at that? It's the Flame Emperor and the Saintess, and they're talking about the Flame Emperor's cucking addiction. Well, that's certainly a lifestyle choice of all time, but that lifestyle has nothing to do with Kim. Or at least it didn't until Cuxard over there uses flamethrower on Galele. It's hyper effective, which officially makes Kim the worst thing. A witness, which Cuxard notices and uses wing attack on Kim. It's super effective. Cuckanine walks over to Kim and says he's the perfect loser to fuck his side piece. Is he available this weekend? Kim responds through the pain that he's real busy walking his bed this weekend. Well, how unfortunate. He was the perfect LR class loser for the job, but hey, what can you do? As Makarov once said, no Russian. And he's dead. But now in Kim's dying moments, at least he finally gets to activate a skill. Kim's dying thoughts? That dumb fucking combustion didn't even use the right Makarov quote from that mission, and dies. Or so he thought, but oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have an upset alert. Kim is somehow still alive. Oh, the betters on couch, you're not gonna be pleased about this one. Chapter 3. So it's now yesterday, but that's definitely not how death works. Kim's pretty sure that dumb Cuckmara used the wrong Makarov quote and killed him. Wait a minute. Kim has the skill Imposter Syndrome that requires him to be killed by the skill haver to copy their skill. Oh my God, does that mean that fucking Cuckadoodle-Doo had a goddamn time reversal skill? What are the chances of that? So what are the drawbacks of the skill to view the user's most severe trauma? Ah, cool. So it's time reversal with a little mental fucking on the side. Sweet. But now that he's back, does this mean he gets his run back with Inferncuck? Yes. Yes, it does. But how to find him? Oh, speak of the devil and he shall appear. So like, how is Kim actually supposed to deal with Cuckflosion over here when he's a level 999 mob boss who upon death can just go back in time, and he's a level 1 coughing baby? Well, it's a really simple plan, but also suicidal plan. Like, literally a suicidal plan, going back in time before the Cuck board becomes a level 999 and was just a measly level 1 noob. Chapter 4. Wow, he did it. He actually self-reset himself over 4,015 times to go back 11 years in the past. Dedication, baby, dedication. Well, now that he's back in the past, it's time to start Operation Cucktaster. First thing, find out where he lives. Check. Wait for him to wake up at the usual time. Check. Wait for him to start heading to the dungeon. Check. Gather his favorite lubricant from the local transmigrated slime population. Check. Now it's time. Lights, camera, action! As Cuckchar makes his grand entrance, and Kim approaches him with the ever classic "help step bro, I'm all sticky from the lube" cliche, and Torcuck falls right into the trap. Yes, helping out one's fellow hunters is what one should do, so he is willing to give Kim the degreaser. Well, he was thinking about it but changed his mind, and that's because now that Kim knows the wonders of the slime grease, he's going to be messing with the Cuck Delore's own supply, and well, as Makarov said, no rushing. Kim finally gets to retaliate, telling him to please shut the fuck up and to stop using the wrong goddamn quote from the greatest FPS shooter ever made. If he's going to use a quote from that mission, the quote to use is, "That's not a message, this is a message." Now standing over the Cuckolossal's corpse like Randy Orton, which finally allows me to stop making fire type Pokemon Cuck names, Kim says how is it possible that he self-rebooted over 4,000 times, but yet he's still less of an asshole than him. Truly impressive, as he leaves his corpse to the wolves. Now at the bar, celebrating the first steps to becoming the greatest hunter in the world and getting rid of the level 999 boss before he became the level 999 boss. Truly a celebratory time, when then a rather dapper gentleman makes his way into the bar, asking for a glass of milk with no ice, and make sure the milk is freshly squeezed. Kim turns around to see who it is, and holy fuck. Chapter 5. Is that the Sword Saint? Wow, Kim swore that he mysteriously disappeared 11 years ago. What is he doing here? Ah, right. May God deliver righteous vengeance unto those that walk the path of a sinner. Hey yo, who or what in the fuck is the Sword Saint talking to? The Green Goblin mask? What is going on? You know what? That has nothing to do with Kim. Wait a minute. The Sword Saint is the #1 ranker in the world right now, which means that Kim's gonna need to die to him, isn't he? For fuck's sake. The Sword Saint slams the money down on the table, yelling to not worry, the sinner will not make it past tonight, as he then takes his leave. Kim then shortly after also takes his leave as he starts trailing behind him. The old man leads Kim into the forest before turning around and saying, "His sins cannot be hidden from God, so there is no use hiding from him any longer." Well, the thing is, Sword Saint, Kim is but a lost little lamb seeking salvation. The Sword Saint is disgusted as slanderous Harpy daring to speak in the tongue of the Father is a sin worthy of death. But wait, aren't all languages the tongue of the All-Father? Which underworld deity has sent him to claim his soul, huh? Izumani no Miko? Hela? Yama? Osiris? Or that bastard Hades? Wait, why does the Sword Saint have beef with the entire Smite 2 roster? No matter who sent him, the Sword Saint does hope that Kim knows that a sinner such as himself will never be able to claim his soul. Especially a fiend who has sinned more than 4,000 times. Ah, damn. So like he can see that above his head? Even though the Sword Saint has never encountered a sinner of his level, it does not change the fact that he shall perish here and now. Chapter 6. A swing and a miss. Kim barely manages to avoid decapitation, but does not avoid the cliche as old as time. Now on the ground, weak, vulnerable. The Sword Saint prepares the final blow, but then suddenly stops as he starts talking to the Green Goblin mask, wondering why is it telling him to wait a second. Kim then remembers, oh wait, he's supposed to get killed by the Sword Saint to take his skill, right? The Sword Saint still being distracted by the Goblin mask in his head, Kim stands up, provoking the Sword Saint, saying how he thought he was going to purge all sinners, so why the cold feet? In that case, Kim's heard he has a beautiful granddaughter, and with that provocation, Kim has died. Again. Well, he achieved what he was desiring to achieve from the start, so now it's time for Copy a Skill, everyone's favorite game show. Let's spin that random skill wheel, because even though Kim can copy skills upon death, Kim cannot see what skills he's actually getting, so everything's on RNG. So let's go gambling. And the skill he got is Martial Master's Consultation. What the hell does that even mean? I mean, it's A+ rank, so it has to be somewhat useful to Kim, surely. When then an unknown being begins speaking in Kim's head, asking who the fuck's being so loud. Kim is rightfully puzzled as he turns and sees a mysterious man saying that if the old man plans to go senile, take that shit elsewhere. Oh, you gotta be shitting Kim right now, right? Chapter 7. Who in the fuck, what in the fuck, when in the fuck, where in the fuck, why in the fuck is this? Has the old man already lost it and forgotten that he's the martial king of the 7th realm and his master? Wait! So the Green Goblin mask that was in the Sword Saint's head was actually him? Wow, that makes a lot more sense. The Martial King turns around to see that who he's talking to is not the old senile man he had grown accustomed to, but someone completely new. The Martial King then starts panicking. Oh my goodness, he's been abducted by a strange man. And oh my god, a strange man is now stuck inside Kim's head. The Martial King then starts crying for the Sword Saint to come and save him. If the Martial King could knock that ghost shit out in Kim's humble abode, that would be great, as all this is a lot for Kim to take in, as he has to hide from the Sword Saint while simultaneously having to now fight the Green Goblin mask in his head. Great. The Martial King's confused. Hide from old man Marcus. Why the hell does Kim's ass need to do that? He may be senile, but he's overall a kind fellow. Well, funny thing about that is, right, so he knows about the sinner skill the Sword Saint has. Yes, the Martial King is aware. So what possible sinner score does 4,091 is Kim's sinner score? Stop the cap. Kim's a total fucking noob. That's impossible for him to have killed that many people, unless he's a mass murderer, but that can't be, because with the skills Kim has, he would have been caught long before he even got close to 4,000. So yeah, the Martial King is right. However, for one little itsy bitsy fact, that center marker seems to even count if one offlines themselves. And Kim offlined himself a lot. And he means a lot. So like, he has the skill, right, that allows him to copy a skill from anyone, but it requires him to die to the person who has the skill. And thanks to RNGesus, the first person who killed Kim happened to have a ridiculously OP skill where every time they died, time rewinds 24 hours. And that's the skill he also now has. So he's trying to tell the Martial King, let him do some quick math, that he really banned himself from the live Twitch channel over 4,000 times to go back 11 years in the past. What in the hell is wrong with him? There's no way Kim can still be sane. The Martial King then looks at Kim and asks, what's his name? Well, his name is Kim Gongcha. He tells him to stand up. Why does he want him to stand up? The Martial King then circles around Kim, looks him up and down and says, it'll do. So now the Martial King just wants Kim to hunt down a few slimes. Simple, right? Kim fruit ninjas them down with ease. The Martial King is even more convinced that this might actually work. Kim is wondering, did he see what he was looking for? Yep, he sees that Kim is a complete fucking noob with amateurish ass tendencies and garbage fucking movement. Overall, he would give Kim's performance a D-. Was it truly that bad? Because Kim thought he did quite well. The Martial King explains, that's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. But if there's one thing to compliment him on, it's that Kim's a complete psychopath that fights with no regard for his own life. Since Kim now has a built-in respawn beacon, he fights like one would if one had a built-in respawn beacon. So if there is a talent there, undoubtedly that is the one talent he has, to fight like a zombie. So one last little question to confirm his theory. When he fought Old Man Marcus, what were Kim's final thoughts in that moment? His thoughts? Has anyone ever noticed that the waning moon looks like a giant side boob shadow? The Marshall King burst into laughter, just like he thought. Kim is fucking mentally cooked, which means that this is going to be way more enjoyable than the Marshall King initially thought. So is Kim ready to be made into the strongest hunter in history? Chapter 8. Wake the fuck up, samurai. It's time to rise and grind, grind and rise. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Does Kim know what that alarm means? It means it smells like bitch in here. Ayo, can the Marshall King just shut the fuck up? It's 4 o'clock in the godforsaken morning. How can Kim want to be the greatest hunter in the tower when he's incapable of waking up at only 4 a.m.? If the Marshall King wasn't already dead, Kim will tell him to kill himself. How ungrateful of Kim to not know how lucky he is to be trained by the Marshall King. But fine, since Kim wants to play games, the Marshall King can play games too. If Kim refuses to get up, the Marshall King will mentally make Kim feel the pain of getting nut checked until he gets up. Kim will find his corpse and make sure to desecrate it. What's the issue? It's not like Kim could actually die from the training. He would just rise from the dead like a zombie. So get the fuck up, zombie, it's time to work. Kim realizes that he no longer has a choice. Now out here running at crackhead hours, does Kim see the joy of being up early, starting the journey to being the greatest hunter? Especially since he's starting on the subterranean level, but the Marshall King is curious. So Kim's starting from the bottom hunter-wise, but they're going to need a lot of money as the microtransactions needed to be the best or not cheap. So when is Kim no longer going to be a part of Broke 5 Broke? That's the fun part, Marshall King, because now Kim gets to do the thing that everyone would do if they regress back in time. The Marshall King is curious. What's that? A clerk then welcomes Kim to Putty Cat Palace, and how can he help him? Kim's here to redeem a few lottery tickets. They could not pay the Marshall King enough to ever put on that fuck-ass hat. That's great to hear. The merchant troupe wishes him the best of luck on his lottery tickets. As the clerk goes ahead and scans the tickets, and of course, they're all winners. Wow, this is now kind of a problem, so the clerk has to run and grab his manager real quick. Take his time, take his time. Kim has nothing but time. The Marshall King is like, yes, this is indeed one way to pass go and collect $200. The Putty Cat Merchantcy Manager is here to guide him to the VIP room if Mr. Kim can please follow him. Oh, Putty Cat Manager, Kim would be more than happy to. Chapter 9. Now that Zombie Kim has come up on some pocket money, does he know the next thing he needs? That would be elixirs, right? The Marshall King is surprised. His dumbass actually knew what to get. Oh, the Marshall King thinks Kim's a fucking idiot. Gotcha. So Kim's also aware that elixirs cost the prettiest of pennies. I mean, this is pre several inflations. How much could they actually cost? The Marshall King then tells him the cost for Kim to give the same reaction when everyone heard that some OF models were making tens of millions of dollars a month. Are they shitting Kim? Do they know how many happy Indians he could buy for that price? The Marshall King says FNAF. Kim instantly knows what that meant. An Old Man Marcus jump scare. Here's the good news. Old Man Fazbear passes by with no incident. However, the bad news. Old Man Marcus is now going into the elixir store they were planning to go into, so their plans are officially canceled. Fuck, now what are they supposed to do? Well, Marshall King, this is the benefit of being a somewhat regressor. What is Kim currently on about? It's the fact that no one starts off as famous. Now in the downtown streets of London, innit? The Marshall King says to Kim, he did not know it was possible to get your dick stuck in a crack pipe. You really see all types of wild shit in the back rooms. By the way, what did Kim mean earlier, no one starts off famous? Listen, Kim didn't come back 11 years in the past with nothing but his cock and balls in his hand. The two approach a scene of a man screaming at a woman that the boss gave her one goddamn job and she fucked it. Then the same man yells at another man to take all the shit. The woman says to just give her like one more month and she promises she can fix the side effect of the previous potion. As she then grabs the back of the cart, the man pulling the cart says, "Don't be like that. They're just taking back the stuff that she bought with the money their boss gave her," before she's knocked down from the cart. The man pulling the cart turns around and says, while a tempting offer to have her fix the boss's side effect, the boss would rather not risk another side effect to cure the current side effect. As the two men then walk off with a cart full of her stuff. And all the lady can do is sit there and look. She then gets up, looks at everyone saying, "So none of them are gonna help her, huh? After everything she's done for this community?" Someone in the crowd says, "He's been lactating for weeks because of her fuck-ass potion." Well, I mean, if they put it like that, how about a buy one, get one free special at her shop? Everyone else proceeds to leave. She slumps to the ground like she's lost everything and her day is officially ruined. When Kim approaches her asking if she's dead ass about that buy one, get one free special. Yes, of course, she's a businesswoman that never goes back on her word. How much is he looking to buy? He don't know, like around 20,000 gold worth of elixirs and potions sounds about right. Excuse sir, what in the fuck does he mean 20k worth? Does he mean 20k worth in like cash or like in crypto or NFTs? Of course he'll be buying the elixirs in straight cash. So, is her shop open? Chapter 10. If Kim could please part of the mess, as she hasn't had time recently to clean up the shop, so if he could just ignore everything he sees, especially the research material. The Marshal King asks him, what exactly does she research in this mess? Potions, Marshal King. All sorts of potions. So is he sure he wants to commission her for 20,000 gold? As he saw outside, all her shit has just been repoed. Yes, he's sure. By the way, why was her stuff repoed? Well, you see, there's a drug kingpin near here who's been having some male-specific performance issues, and he commissioned her to give him something that can help him rise to full attention. But she made it a little too strong, and now anytime he gets a little excited, he passes out as all the blood from his body migrates down south for the winter. Sounds like to Kim she has that good shit he's been looking for. Wait, Kim's actually serious about commissioning her for 20k gold. Yep, Kim's deadly serious about it. So what does she say? If he buys her new equipment, she'll have it done within 4 days. If he doesn't, it'll take 3+ weeks. Is Zombie Kim sure they should leave her with that commission because the Marshal King doesn't trust her with making that elixir? Oh, come on, Marshal King, just trust him. What does he think? He self-OTK'd himself for the fucking vibes? No, just sit back and watch. 4 days later, Castellan brings in his commission. So here's all his elixirs. Kim asks her, so how does it feel being 20k richer? It feels nice, but she is not sure why he even commissioned her in the first place. Kim says it's called intuition. He blew 20,000 gold on intuition. People have spent a hell of a lot more on intuition. Has she ever been to the Wall Street's Bet subreddit? So with this commission over and done with, Kim is curious as to if she would like to keep working with him, as Kim's going to need a lot more of her services in the future. Castellan agrees to the deal, and since he was the first one to give her a big break, for all future commissions, he gets 20% off. Kim loves the sound of that and will be seeing her in the future. Now, later in the day, Kim's transported into a dungeon to test out his freshly acquired elixirs. The Marshal King tells Kim to make sure he chugs it, which he does, which might have been a mistake, as the elixirs is like if Red Bull fucked the charged lemonade from Panera Bread, then they had a threesome with 5-hour energy, as the elixir starts whooping Kim's ass. The Marshal King says, does he want to know a fun fact? That the human body is not meant to actually ingest this much caffeine? Everything feels fucked up, doesn't it? He bet his perception of time and space is probably slowed due to the cardiac symptoms. The Marshal King bet his head feels like it's fucking splitting open right now. As the Marshal King says, but there's no need for Kim to actually panic or worry during their training session, as it's not like he'll actually die. Remember? As then a giant onion-eating ogre appears behind Kim. Chapter 11. What are you doing in sweet little ogre swamp? Kim would like for the Marshal King to know that he is not and will never be shite. Don't be like that, Kimmy boy, as they say. Practical is always better than theoretical. So Kimmy boy should focus more on the elixirs running through his veins than whining, as the very, very unhappy onion winds up to whack at Kim. Oof. A swing and a miss. Ooh, sending the ogre's batting average below 250, which means he misses the incentives. And he is not pleased about that development as he goes for another dinger, but Kim then evades the swing, turning around to finally face Swamp Ass Incarnate. The Marshall King says about time Kim does something worth a damn. Kim, using the power of the elixir, starts charging up his jump, unsheathing his Kim Gonja Slayer 9000 and super jump towards the ogre, putting the knife in the ogre's chest, and finally felling his first real opponent since going back 11 years in the past. The Marshall King is impressed. He was sure that Kim was going to die at least a couple of times before he took out one ogre, but look at him. Kim's pretty sure he's dying, but it dawns on him that he's actually doing it. He's really starting the journey to become the strongest. But the Marshall King then asks Kim a very simple yet important question. What is he going to be doing about the second ogre? Chapter 12. So this is how Kim copies other people's skills. Yeah, pretty much, but unfortunately for Kim, these little shites won't stop moving, so he can't get behind them to see what they actually say. Well, that's funny, because the Marshall King can see what the cards are, no problem. Hearing this news, Kim's really fucking excited, as this means he can now beat the house. So what are the skills Kim can copy from the orcs? After reading off a few skills like Kevin Gates, Dad's gonna go grab some milk, and premature celebration, the Marshall King reads the final skill called reproductive fertility. Its description: the streets be tough for a motherfucker, so when life gives you goon bait, you must learn how to master said bait. Well, Kim knows what skill he's going to be copying. Time out. The Marshall King thinks they should talk about this. Too late. Give Kim the power. Well, Kim calls that a successful skill copy. The Marshall King, on the other hand, does not agree with that assessment. Now, later on in the day, the Marshall King is trying the bold strategy of negotiations with Kim. However, Kim does not negotiate with terrorists, so the Marshall King might as well go ahead and shut the hell up and let him cook. But there lies the problem. The Marshall King does not want him to cook at all. Elixir down Kim's gullet. Now time for him to try this again. But first, Kim's wondering, does the Marshall King want to see something neat? Kim dashes at the ogre full speed, and as the ogre turns to see Kim, Kim then speaks in ogre, confusing the ogre. But translating what Kim said, he asks the ogre if it's willing to send nudes. The ogre's eyes light up as it's been waiting for the day someone asked for nudes, distracting the ogre enough before Kim turns the ogre into a past tense, dropping the ogre instantly. Kim says to the Marshall King, "See? Neat." The Marshall King is wondering, what's wrong with him? How is he just going to get the ogre hot and bothered like that just to do them dirty? Does he have no moral compass or dignity? Kim responds to the Marshall King's question in ogre, "Send nudes?" The Marshall King proceeds to go on a verbal tirade that would leave any YouTube channel demonetized for generations. Chapter 13. After about a week of goonbaiting the entire ogre population, Kim finally made it to Goblin Biker Big Gabonka. Kim focuses up his aura before leaping at the Big Gabonka, screaming at the top of his lungs in ogre to send feet pics, catching the Big Gabonka by surprise before lunging his knife in the Big Gabonga's chest, detaching all exceed materials from him. The Marshall King, in dull tone, congratulates Kim for beating the weakest boss. Does he want a cookie? The Marshall King can go fuck himself, as Kim beat him, only dying 5 times in the process. The Marshall King is not impressed, considering that Kim did nothing aside from goon baiting ogres and goblins. Kim's wondering, since when did the method matter when clearing floors? When then they're interrupted by the tower congratulating Kim for defeating the 5th floor boss, and as a reward for his achievement, the tower shall be granting him his very own unique aura for future aura farming purposes. Kim's finally done it. He's been recognized by the tower outside of when it told him to die, but this time it's acknowledging his existence. Later on, outside the dungeon, the Marshall King sincerely congratulates Kim on getting his own unique aura. Yeah, Kim's pretty excited about it too, which is why it's time to head to floor 10 now, isn't it? Whoa, Kim has too much dip on his chip now. He needs to relax. He just beat floor 5. That's exactly why he's going to floor 10. The Marshall King is irritated. Does little pup now think he's hot shit or something? Kim bets the Marshall King that he can beat floor 10 within 7 lives. Okay then, since he's so cocky, what are the stakes? If the Marshall King wins, Kim will call him master and listen to everything he says for 1 year. And if Kim wins, the Marshall King will call him master and listen to everything he says for 1 year. So then, deal? Kim's goddamn right it's a deal. Kim can't wait for the Marshall King to call him master. Now at the front gate of floor 10 stands a lone knight informing the traveler Kim to return the way he came. Kim's curious as to why he can't challenge the boss. Good said, the knight in good conscience cannot allow him to go in there alone and die a pointless death. The Marshall King starts laughing because if Kim can't even face the boss, then doesn't that mean that by default Kim loses the bet? Kim slowly walks over to the god asking, is the good sir aware that Kim actually has a terminal disease and will most likely not make it to the end of this year? This CC's the knight. The Marshall King can't believe the fucking audacity of Kim to even try this. Kim continues his Oscar-worthy performance, that if he's going to go out, he would much rather prefer to go out on his own terms as a warrior fighting for the future of humanity, even if no one will remember his name. And as a sign of sincerity, Kim hands the god a shit ton of money, saying how it's his whole fortune as he knows the guard will put it to much better use than a dead man. Kim then asks the guard once more that even though Kim was not able to choose to be brought into this world, would the guard still deny him the way he wishes to go out? The guard buys the guilt bait, hook, line, and fucking sinker. The Marshall King can truly not believe the bullshit that is occurring in front of his very own ghostly eyes. The two now stand outside floor 10's boss level. Kim opens the door as he beholds most people's fucking nightmare, dolls. A fuck ton of dolls. They then ask him if he would like to play a game. As the house ignites in flame, Kim says, bring it on, you little shits. Chapter 14. The dolls chant in unison, come on, mister, play a game with us. The Marshall King's curious. Is Kim aware what this means? As the Marshall King starts laughing at Kim, saying that this means that he's already about to be down 1 life. Yes, Kim's noticed. Now the dolls are chanting, one of us, one of us, one of us. Do they want to play a game or make Kim into one of them? If Kim had any answers, does the Marshall King think that Kim would not have answered one of them by now? The Marshall King tells Kim that if he does manage to find any answers, do in fact ignore them and just die 7 more times. If the Marshall King was not already dead, Kim would kill him himself. Okay, you little TikTok chat GPT attention span lacking brats, what game do they want to play, huh? What, tag? As Kim touches one of the dolls and it spits an incoherent amount of brain rot at him until it fully melts. Kim tells the Marshall King, oh, so this is how people start doing drugs. Marshall King is now pretty sure he understands why they're burning this place down. So is Kim ready to surrender the bet? Because the Marshall King is ready to be called master anytime now. Oh, Marshall King, don't get too excited there. Still 6 more runs. But it's time for the most important part for Kim, and that's dying a horrific death. But more importantly, time to unlock a new skill. Wow, Kim should look at this. They've hit the jackpot as it's an SSR skill called Flame Retardant. Skill description? Keeps the fire out and lets the autism in. What does Kim think the skill means by that? Kim's not convinced. That skill seems a little too convenient. That's why Kim wants the Marshall King to read the rest of the cards to him. Oh, you gotta be fucking the Marshall King. Fine. There's Lovely Lady of the Labyrinth, Tongue Brain Rot, Poppy Playtime Part Infinite. See, the other skills are mostly useless like the Marshall King initially suspected. And the last one, Ifrit's E-Kitten. Ladies and gentlemen, we found the one. Wait! Listen, the two of them can surely have a civil discussion about this and just pick Flame Retardant, which is the best card here. Clearly, look, it's all gold and shiny. Well, that's truly neat, Marshall King, but Kim's already redeemed Ifrit's E-Kitten, a skill that allows the user to pick people and things. Those people/things then proceed to become immune to flames. It was at this moment the Marshall King realized that the bet with Kim is cooked. Kim tells him that he's just built different and is wondering would he like to call him master starting now to get it over with faster, or after he officially defeats the boss, because with this skill the boss is basically already defeated. Now time to return to the past, but first, remember the whole trauma side effect with the revive skill? Well, it's about time for Kim to remember that stipulation as well. Chapter 15. Now regrets 24 hours with a new skill and a soul with some brand new hot off the presses trauma. Chapter 16. Now regrets 24 hours with a new skill and a soul with some brand new hot off the presses trauma. making the tension in the room so thick it could clap without having to use hands. The Marshal King says, "Ah, so that's what happened on that island." Kim is wondering if it's possible for the Marshal King to kill himself. The Marshal King tells Kim no need to be so down about it, as he personally has seen much worse. Is the Marshal King wholeheartedly dead ass right now? The Marshal King tells Kim that he needs to pull it the fuck together, soldier, as the rise and grind and rise mindset takes no prisoners, no hostages. So what now? That Kim knows of the boss's sad past? What is he going to do now? Walk into the boss room and try to be friends with it? No, he still's going to have to kill it. Kim tells the Marshal King that he certainly brings up some points of all time, but he has a boss to run it back with. Now back in front of the 10th floor boss room, the Marshal King is still yapping, trying to apologize in an intriguing way, to say the least, before Kim snaps and asks the Marshal King if he could please shut the fuck up for 5 minutes. Holy God, he's yapping more than Kim's fictional bitch of an ex-wife. Now, if the Marshal King could kindly excuse him, as Kim has some children to play with once again. The dolls ask Kim if he would like to play a game. Kim says, "Oh, you little illiterate lambs. Kim shall show them the joys of things outside the tablet and phone." The dolls respond, "Wait, what does Unk mean? Fun outside, scrolling TikTok at 4 a.m. like a crack addict getting their fix?" Yes, there's a game called hide and seek. The dolls wonder, how does one play hide and seek? Simple, they all hide and he's going to seek. And if he finds all of them, he wins. Got it? The children all understand. Let the games begin. Tag, that's 1. Double kill. Triple kill. Quadra kill. Pentakill. Kilimanjaro. Tactical tag incoming! As Kim finds the last one, the doll asks if Kim wants to play a game. Yes, little one, Kim's always ready to play a game. And with this tag, shall be free of the screen. May she and all the other children rest in early and mid-2000s McDonald's and Chuck E. Cheese play places. The last all melts away as Kim and the Marshal King just sit there in memorial. Chapter 16. It's over, it's done with. Kim is successfully solo floor level 10 and only died once while doing it. But the Marshal King is a tad bit confused why Kim doesn't look elated, but instead looks like someone has just run over his dog. Kim should be celebrating that he beat a hidden stage. Even the Marshal King struggled with beating hidden stages. Kim says even after clearing all those stages, it's really unfortunate that the Marshal King never found the skill known as shut the fuck up. As Kim really sits there and reflects on how fucked up doesn't even properly describe the backstory behind this stage. Well, champ, it's only gonna get shittier. But Kim did a fantastic job being able to beat floor 10 solo. The hell is the Marshal King trying to pull right now? What? The Marshal King is just genuinely impressed by Kim's tenacity and perceptiveness to overcome these tough and grueling trials. As the tower celebrates the humans of Earth for clearing the 10th floor, even though they did not participate in the group project, they all still get an A. Wow. Now it actually feels like Kim is a relevant somebody. Well, this is just a start for Kim. The guard from earlier comes Sonic dashing over, yelling, did he actually fucking clear the tower? Wasn't he going in there to kill himself? Kim's curious, is it a problem that he cleared the 10th floor? Why yes, quite so, as his bosses are blowing up his phone like he has a late payment on child support, asking him who cleared the 10th floor. Well, it looks like Kim's quiet life is coming down to their final days. The Marshal King hopes that Kim is mentally prepared to be standing at the pinnacle of humanity. Kim tells the guard, who knows who could have beaten the 10th floor? Can he at least tell him his name? Kim replies that information is not cheap. And if he remembers correctly, he already paid him off earlier. Come on, man, at least give him a Twitter handle. Hell, he'll even take a blue sky. Truly a magnificent way to handle the situation. Kim truly deserves to be at the peak. Does the Marshal King think he's slick? Did this motherfucker truly think all the recent kiss-assing would have him forget about the fucking bet, huh? What? No, the Marshal King would never try to renege on a bet. But that bet they made was just a wee jokey joke, a little hee-hee and ha-ha. Right, Kim? Kim. He's never heard of that name. Who is this Kim the Marshal King speaks of? The Marshal King begs Kim to please not do this to him, man. But once again, he is not sure who this Kim person is that the Marshal King keeps referring to. It's now the next day as Kim's listening to podcasters' conspiracy theories on what actually happened to the 10th floor and how it was actually beaten, while also enjoying a fresh cup of joe with the Marshal King. Oh, silly Kim, he forgot that the Marshal King cannot enjoy the fresh joe with him, as he is just a mere apparition in Kim's head. Oh dear, how could Kim possibly forget such a detail and ignore it? Doesn't the Marshal King agree that forgetting the details is something so important, as well as ignoring that fact an extremely foolish thing to do? The Marshal King agrees with Master Kim that forgetting something so important and ignoring that fact is an extremely foolish thing to do. Master Kim is so glad to see that the Marshal King also agrees with his sentiment. Who would have such little honor and dignity to ignore the stipulation of a bet they were so extremely confident about? For the love of the tower, just strike him down already. The embarrassment is heavy enough to sink continents. May Master Kim remind him that the tower cannot save him from his own mistakes. Master Kim then looks down and there he sees in the coffee shop a putty cat. Oh my goodness, what is such a pretty little putty doing here? Fun fact, this cat is actually a very important person transformed as a cat. However, not many people are actually supposed to know this, so Kim just plays along with it for now. But if she's found him, that must mean, and speak of the devil, is there a Mr. Kim currently in this establishment? Well, it would seem these fine people are looking for him. Well, excuse him as he has came at the behest of the paladins. Wait just a moment. They're confused. What's the issue? Master Kim points out they come into this fine establishment and cause a scene, a commotion even, but yet they don't even order a fine succulent drink? That's quite rude, don't they think? Do they all see how much better and more quiet and suitable this is for talking? So then, welcome to Kim Tank, and he's willing to listen to their offers. All the groups here start making offers trying to one up each other with money, perks, and benefits like a credit card company before the cat yells out 1 million gold coins as she hops down and transforms into a beautiful brown-skinned queen, as she's pretty sure none of them can currently make a better offer. But in Kim's eyes, the actual negotiations start now. Chapter 17. The Merchant Queen finds it quite peculiar that Kim's not shocked the cat just transformed into a person right before his eyes. One of the other representatives asked the Merchant Queen, what in the fuck does she mean 1 million gold? Is that not quite excessive for one person? No, the Merchant Queen does not think so, as when you got it like that, you got it like that. So they should probably hurry up and call their bosses over so they could be done with it. After a little while, you can hear in the distance someone yelling, "You motherfucking hairball spitting ass cat!" Well, it seems like they're finally here as the other guild leaders make their way into the shop. The one cursing loudly like a sailor is ranked 5th in the world, Arbok. Then after him, the 4th ranked Cult Indoctrinator. Then the 6th ranked Holy Paladin. Then lastly, the 2nd ranked Hunter in the world, the Black Witch. So let the for realsies negotiations begin now. The biggest guild leaders in the world are directly sitting in front of Kim, exuding copious amounts of aura. So that's how they're going to test Kim. Well, this tactic would surely work on a lesser man, but not on him. Kim calls over the barista. Yes, could he please fetch him a cup of green tea? The waiter's like, sure. The Marshal King is impressed with Kim's correct response, keeping his composure and showing 0 openings. The Marshal King can keep Krispy Kreming all he likes. It changes nothing. The Black Witch believes that's enough with the introduction. She would like to get straight to the point. What association is he planning to join? Oh, don't be like that shit. What happened to making an offer that Kim can't possibly refuse? In that case, Kim asks her a better question. Why do they want him so badly then? That's certainly true, but Kim knows that this is a bit deeper than rap, as the kids would say, than just picking one of their guilds. So how about this? Kim has his own motives, and they very clearly have their own as well. But conveniently, like the constellations in the sky, his motives align with theirs. And with him seemingly being the golden goose, whoever gets him will definitely have the advantage over the others, which would certainly be unfair to the other guilds in the room, right? So instead, why don't they play a little game of poker? The Black Witch is curious. What exactly is Kim getting at here? Well, it's quite simply, you see they're going to play a game of poker, except the stakes are going to be a bit different. Whoever wins will have the honor of Kim joining their posse. However, if Kim wins, he will get the prestigious honor of joining all 5 of their guilds. And they have to keep him clearing the 10th floor solo quiet until the 11th floor opens. So who's ready to gamble? The Merchant Queen is in, so is the Cult Indoctrinator Arbok, the Holy Paladin, and the Black Witch are also down. So with that, let the game of poker begin. But first, the Marshal King is aware that his foolishness has led his sentence to extend beyond time and space. The Marshal King is aware of what he speaks of. Well, perhaps Kim has found a way for him to reduce that sentence. The Marshal King is now listening to Master Kim. He'll do whatever it takes to be freed from this purgatory. Good. All he simply needs to do is tell Kim what cards they have in their hands. Sounds like a deal to the Marshal King. Chapter 18, the Merchant Queen's hands gas. Fold. Arbok's hands dog water, he's bluffing his ass off. The Holy Paladin's hands quite mid, so go all in. Finish her. And Arbok's now out of contention, and he's not very thrilled about it. And Arbok has the audacity and goal to say that Kim is fucking cheating at this poker game because there's just no shot. What can Kim say? He's blessed. Plus, isn't it up to him to verify the opponent's skill before engaging in a game? Oh, you gotta be shitting, Arbok. This is clearly bullshit. It's now down to the final 3 contestants before we're swiftly cut down to the final 2, as the Holy Paladin is now officially out of contention. As she goes over to tell Arbok whatever Kim is doing or using to win is truly monstrous. Is Kim and the Black Witch ready for the final round? Yes, they are both ready. The Black Witch asks him what exactly is his motive that he believes aligns with theirs. Well, there are a few. If he had to name his biggest motive, it would definitely be disdain. The Marshal King informs Master Kim that the Black Witch's hand is trash. Is Kim aware of her backstory? No, Kim is not particularly familiar. Is her backstory special? No, in fact, it's quite the opposite. The reason she brings up her backstory is because everyone has a backstory that leads them to have their own reasons and circumstances. Yes, Kim also agrees with this sentiment, and he knows what she's getting at, but she does not need to worry about his being a hindrance to their end goal. Kim may say that, but to the Black Witch, disdain is an extremely powerful motive that can also be a critical hindrance, especially to their end goal of clearing the tower. Kim understands her weariness, but that disdain is going to be the key reason he's going to become the greatest hunter in the tower's history. And to do that, clearing the tower is a must, no? So their goals align perfectly, doesn't she think? Oh great, another wacko for the Black Witch to deal with in the ever-growing ensemble. And with both parties going all in, Kim emerges with the winning hand, becoming victorious in this game of poker. What a wondrous compliment for Kim to receive from the Black Witch. So since Kim will be joining all 5 of their guilds, he would appreciate it if they could look at him on equal footing. The Black Witch wonders if Kim's fully aware of the weight that comes with what he just requested. Yes, Kim is very well aware of the baggage. If he wasn't, he would never suggest such a stupid idea. She's glad to hear it and is looking forward to working with him in the future. The Marshal King yells that Kim's a fucking liar, he hasn't planned shit, it's all bullshit and fucking luck. Wait, now that the Marshal King realizes it, he's fucking free at last. Hell yeah, woohoo! Kick rocks, barefoot, you zombie fucker. Kim wonders if the Marshal King knows of the word dignity. The Black Witch wonders, since they're now working together, is Kim willing to divulge how he managed to beat the 10th floor solo? He could do that, or he can tell them information he's received about the 11th floor. So what will it be? Information on past events? Or would they like information on upcoming events? The choice is theirs to make. Chapter 19. It's the final minutes before the 11th floor opens up, but the world is still abuzz about the 10th floor, as it's been several days, and yet they've still not received a single detail on who or how it was beaten. Well, that's irrelevant now, as a golden-haired goddess-like figure appears congratulating them for not being completely useless and being able to beat the 10th floor. And speaking of useless, there happens to be a world in need of all of their help. While the figure continues speaking, the Sword Saint, furious something will imitate his god, jumps to the air to slash to the figure to no avail. All the Sword Saint ends up doing is exposing that the figure is nothing but a hologram, which throws everyone off guard a bit. The hologram finishes her grand speech saying in order to go to this new world and claim epic and grand prizes, all they need to do is say Isekai, as she wishes them luck and hopes they don't die a completely useless death. As many people then start yelling Isekai and getting transported to that other world, the Holy Paladin walks over to Kim to wish their new superstar good luck. What is the Holy Paladin on about? Why would Kim be a superstar? Don't tell her he's already forgotten about the bet. The Holy Paladin says, does this jog his memory? Remember, he was the one who wanted to be treated as equals to them. The reporters swarm in like beasts, asking Kim all sorts of questions, such as, did he seriously clear the 10th floor solo? Who actually is he? How long his schlong is? All sorts of questions. So the Holy Paladin is just gonna leave Kim like this? Don't tell the Holy Paladin that the future strongest hunter in the tower's history can't handle the measly paparazzi, as she then transmigrates. Wait, she actually just left Kim like that to deal with the paparazzi alone? You gotta be shitting, Kim. Wait a minute, the Marshal King recognizes that technique. Isn't that the exact same thing Kim does to other people? The paparazzi swarm in even harder, asking more questions of varying degrees of safe for workness. Kim, realizing the futility of the situation, gives them what they want. A comment. Kim says if they think they've seen anything yet, they're in for a lot of huge surprises in the future, as he pieces out by saying isekai. As Kim's transported to where everyone else is, which is an active battlefield, which is one hell of a spawn point. Chapter 20. Now transmigrated onto an active battlefield of the Omen versus Lindell, the two sides clashing with them in the middle of it. Everyone else is a tad bit panicked due to suddenly being thrust into a sudden life or death situation, when then an old general comes gallivanting through the battlefield, saying praise be to Queen America for sending such brave warriors to assist the Golden Order and saving the beautiful Lindell capital. The Sword Saint wastes no time starting the quest that has just been given to him, and the rest of the lot following the Sword Saint's lead and putting the Omen down. Back to Kim, who, as a reward for clearing the 10th floor, is gifted the overpowered ability of getting a map that's pretty much a Blackbird from Black Ops 2, along with some other special perks as well. Seeing these rewards be given to Kim, the Marshal King is not exactly what one would call ecstatic about it, cause where was all this favoritism bullshit when he was climbing this fuck-ass tower, huh? Ah, right, the tower almost forgot. Since Kim cleared the hidden floor flawlessly, the tower will be granting him even more rewards. The Marshal King declares this to be unfair lucky bullshit. As Kim basks in the aura of his own magnificence, does the Marshal King legitimately think this is unfair luck bullshit and some RNG type shenanigans going on? Yes, the Marshal King truly believes that this is some unfair lucky RNG bullshit ass game. Well, since it's all luck, then the Marshal King wouldn't mind putting another wager against him then? Yeah, fuck no, go fuck yourself. The Marshal King will not be doing that rigged horseshit ever again. Don't be like that, Marshal King. He just said earlier that it was some lucky BS, so how could he possibly rig a luck-based game? The Marshal King is not falling for Kim's bait. Well, since the Marshal King will not be placing any wagers, Kim needs him out of the way, as Big Papa has work to do. Kim has the system show him some very important and pertinent information regarding enemies and allies. Wow, Kim can't believe the Marshal King would call a highly skilled game like this RNG. He should be ashamed of himself. But Kim's gotten all the info he needs for this trial run, so it's about time to reset this bitch and try again. And Kim knows just the NPC who would be willing to kill him and give him a new skill. Kim approaches General Alexander, asking how everything's going. Everything's going swell as it could be. Alexander wonders why the warrior has approached him. Kim approached him because Kim needs him to kill him. The Marshal King can be seen in the background yelling, "He's a fucking scammer, don't do it." Alexander's in shock. What does Kim mean to kill him? Why would he kill a warrior who has come to help the Golden Order? Well, Alexander, you see, Kim has a special ability that can overturn the tide of battle. Its only downside is that it'll cost him his life. The Marshal King is still in the background yelling, "Kim's not shit and will never ever be shit." Kim says that he believes it's worth it to give up his own life if he can save the Golden Order and his transmigrated comrades as well. Alexander still hesitant to slay an ally in cold blood, but not just any ally, but an ally who chose to risk his life for a world that is not even his own. Kim knows that it's a hard choice, but Alexander is a general, is he not? He must think of his people and kingdom's future. And if the price of that future is one life, then Kim believes Alexander knows what to do. The Marshal King is completely over this bullshit acting at this point. Alexander understands. Queen America, please forgive Alexander for the grave sin he's about to commit. The Marshal King's like, don't feel bad, General. Kim actually originates from Rey Lucaria, so its queen will actually praise Alexander for killing him. Kim thanks Alexander for making the difficult but ultimately correct choice. Alexander thanks Kim as a brave warrior, as Alexander shall never forget his name or face for what he's done for the Golden Order. Alrighty, on to attempt number 2. Now Kim is riding horseback through the battlefield, and this time with a brand new sword, the Sacred Relic Sword.